Emu, Ace, or Zoro? You have to make that decision in OP13 coming up very soon, starting November 7th, because if you're not playing one of the 3 top meta decks, you're probably not performing against the meta. People have talked about it as a triangle meta. Zoro beats Ace, Ace beats Emu, Emu beats Zoro. Today, we're going to really test out if this is true. We're going to take Ace to start, and we're going to play all 3 leaders this week on the ranked sim. Now, I plan on grinding Ace a lot in this meta and doing some live streams just grinding Ace on ranked and getting to the top tiers so that I can take it to a regional this format. But I also want to do more testing with other decks to see if maybe I'm more favorable to one of the other options. Let's go check out that deck profile. Here is my competitive take on Ace. Again, this is all about the meta going forward because that's what we need to prep for. So I have a few little 1-ofs, 2-ofs, like with how much filter and searching we have in the deck, I like to have as many options as you can. This is a deck that you can run 1-of of a card and find it consistently, at least every other match, rather than most decks that run 1-ofs, you just never find them when you actually need them. So you usually want to run 3 or 4. In this kind of deck, we can actually find those pieces when we need them. Our leader effect says, on your opponent's attack once per turn, trash 1 card from your hand, give it to one of your opponent's leaders or character minus 2,000 during this battle. Specifically, this does say battle, so just keep that in mind because we are going, when we go into Zoro games, not saying we have any today because I'm not sure, I haven't played the games yet, but if we go into Zoro, this is only for the first attack, not both attacks, so it's not like Judgment of Hell, which gives it minus 3,000 for the entire turn. This is just specifically for the battle. We can turn any of these bricks, as we run a lot of bricks in the deck, into a 2k counter. We can also turn 1ks into 2ks over here. We have Goldie Roger, Newgate, all these things that can become 2k counters rather than just bricks in hand. So we don't mind carrying too many bricks because we can always get out of big attacks using 2k counter or minus 2,000 power. Times when dawn once per turn when you receive a damage, so when you take a life, or when one of your characters with 6,000 base power or more is KO'd, draw 1 card. So we basically get to draw a bunch of cards in this deck, put up a large hand size, and sometimes that's the best thing and sometimes it's the worst because we do tend to get puddinged a lot, especially into any other blue match. So we need to keep that in mind and think about what cards we actually need to find in certain matches, and I guess just doing things properly. So this deck is, again, probably the best deck in the format. Altogether, this is seeing the most play in Japan, winning the most tournaments, but Emu's right there with it. I think personally, I've heard other people talk about this as well, other content creators and just people at locals, a good Ace beats a good Emu, but a great Emu beats a great Ace. And I find that to be true because I've lost many times to Emu because Emu is just such a great deck. And that's probably not the deck I'll go with because I just don't like the play style. But I will say I do think that deck is a little complex and you need to find certain pieces many times in a row. It's probably really tiring to play. This is a little more linear, a little easier to pilot. And I think there are certain decisions you do have to make that people don't really think about. Sometimes on an 8 Dawn turn, I'd rather Atmos. Sometimes I'd rather even Jozu than play a 10 cost. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are certain situations where it's just stronger. And knowing when those times are is the most important thing. Now, let's actually just talk about the cards that are actually in the deck. Let's start with the old cards that you already know, just to go ahead and knock them out of the way, and then we'll talk about some of the new stuff. So we're running Thatch here. This is from the starter deck 15. It just is a 2k counter. You can take a life and give a character minus 2,000 power. Normally that doesn't matter. Normally it's just in here for a 2k that's searchable for the Whitebeard Pirates. You have Uta here, a 6 cost blocker that has minus 4 cost if you have a 10,000 power or higher character. So if we pair it with our 8 cost event that cheats out a 10 cost, this becomes the other 2 Dawn most of the time, just depending on what 10 cost we play. We need one that specifically gives us Dawn so that we can use our leader effect to have Dawn attached to our leader, and then we can put 2 blockers on the board using this 10 cost here. Now, again, we're going to go into more details about these specific cards in a second. Just let's get over with the old stuff. Running one of the 9 costs. This is in here specifically for the Zoro match. I find this card to be very strong because when you go to an 8k base leader, that helps a lot. Just straight up, that helps a lot. The secondary effect is basically null and void. My KO with 3,000 power or less doesn't really do anything because in the mirror matches, what are we going to KO in a mirror? Garp, Thatch, there's not really much we really care to KO, so the when attacking is not that strong, but it's there and viable if you need it. You could combo with Thatch technically and KO a 5,000 power character. Not saying that'd be good, but you could. Anyways, this is really in here for the Zoro match. That's why you usually run 2 of this, but I'm trying it at 1 of to really see how it goes. Because I think personally in North America, I find a lot of people are really tired of Zoro. So early in the format, more people are going to be playing Ace and Emu than they will be Zoro. There's going to be a few like Zoro no-lifers, but now I do think most people are going to be going more towards the new leaders rather than Zoro, as a lot of people just say it's such a brain-dead deck that plays itself. So I think you don't need this as much early in the format, but I think later in the format, you're going to have to bump this up. Running 2 of the 10 cost Goldie Rogers. This is in here for the Emu match. A good Emu player can play around this every time. This card is great. It just has rush, and then when your opponent activates blockers, if you or your opponent have 0 life, you win the game. So it just stops blockers, and you can do that for your side of the board, or if your opponent's at 0 life, or you're at 0 life. So we can take life aggressively and go down to 0 to then 10 cost and win the game through not having blockers. And you also have to think about this card when you're attacking your opponent, to put a red deck into 0 life, because if you're hiding behind like a bunch of big blockers and Marcos and Utas, and you or your opponent go to 0 life and you don't have Goldie Roger, the chances are they probably do. Like, the reason they were okay going to 0 life, and it's normally this card. So into red black Saba, red blue Ace, red green Luffy even, I'm sure might even tech this in. Roger definitely probably has this in there. Like, this card, you got to be worried about it, especially in the current format. We're running 3 of the Ezos. This is a top 5 Whitebeard Searcher. Searches are 10 cost, searches are cost, are Marcos, Atmos, kind of combo pieces here. Ezo is really good. It can also trash itself to draw 1 and place a card at the bottom of the deck, so you can filter through and find certain pieces a lot more consistently, so we like this a lot. Running 2 of the Pudding. This card is probably the best card in the deck. Hands down, Pudding is the best card going forward into OP13. If this card wasn't reprinted, this card would be probably a $12 rare. Like, the card is absurdly strong in this format. So as many Puddings as you can play, we're going to be playing them, and I know that it's just that good. It really is. And any deck that you're going against, this card can win you the game. Even with 5 cards in their hand, with the amount of searching that Emu has, just stopping their searching and consistency is most important. So sometimes putting down Pudding can win you the game, especially when you're hiding behind a bunch of big bodies and you're trying to just finish them off. You might get rid of all their 1-cost events. You may give them nothing but bricks in hand. Running 2 of the Atmos here. This is to bounce 4-cost characters back to the opponent's hand. This is strong into the mirror match going first, because you're on a 5-Don turn. So we can still put 1 Don on our leader and swing 7. Then we can play Atmos, bounce Marco back to their hand so they don't get to draw so many cards. And then we get to swing 7 at their leader. Yes, it'll cost them a card in hand, and maybe they use the Marco as the counter, but most of the time it doesn't really matter. This card's also good into Zoro when they have the restand Zoro that restands itself and 2 Dawn. So it restands 2 Dawn on play, and then at the end of their turn it restands itself every single time. So just bouncing this off their board and making them play it again really helps. Like, I would not believe it, because now they just can't play that Zoro. Now they're playing Tashigis and trying to combo the Tashigi over and over and over again, so they have no value out of the Zoro. If they have to play Zoro, they're usually behind. So bouncing it back to hand puts you in a really good spot in the early game. Then we have Marco, which is the new PRBO2 blocker. On KO, draw 2 cards. With leader effect, it's draw 3. This card is absolutely absurd. I think this is a 4 of in the deck every single time, possibly 3 of. I've thought about it recently and maybe putting this down 1 to go up 1 new gate, but I'm not 100% confident in it just because drawing 3 cards is just that good. Just amazing. You get out of the big attack and you get to draw a bunch of cards, filling up your hand size to be very large. And we just play 1 card. We have 5 cards left in hand. We block out and we get to have 8 cards in hand. Absolutely absurd. Then we draw 1 for turn. 9 cards total is crazy. You can do this on your 3rd turn. Already having 9 cards is just... This card's amazing. I love it so much. Marco, amazing card in the deck. Running 4 the Jozu, this bounces a 6-cost back to the opponent's hand. You either run this or you run the Yamato in this deck. You have to choose between the 2 though. This is the Yamato right here. If your leader is Land of Wano or Porcus D Ace, give up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader. Then this character gains rush during this turn. One or the other. This is great into Emu and a lot of decks aggressively. This is great into Zoro and just bouncing cards back to your opponent's hand. Not great into Emu. So there is merit into maybe like a split of 2 and 2, but just remember this Yamato is a brick. Jozu at least has counter, which is nice. Good, like I said, into mini matches, not every match though. So kind of pick your choice. These are a lot more expensive. Jozu's $3, Yamato's like $20 for an SR. The alt art's like $50 right now. So if you didn't get these early, probably going to be playing Jozu instead. I personally like Jozu as the pick because we're worse into Green Zoro than we are Emu. So I like teching more for Green Zoro than I would for Emu, especially because we're only running 1 of these. So we're teching more into the Jozu with the blue Jozu here. This is also good into Emu, of course, because they have a bunch of 7k attacks coming at you and you're an 8k leader. So it forces them to attach that extra Dawn. That's always nice and consistent. So this card's good into both matches, but Jozu's good more into Zoro. We're running 2 of the Tax Gate, is what I call it at least. I think that's what most people call it. If your leader's Whitebeard Pirates and you have 2 or less life, until the end of your opponent's next turn, all the cards on their board, the characters, cannot attack unless they first discard 2 cards from their hand. So just prevents your opponent from going for lethal. And when your opponent puts 5 cards on the board, aka Emu, this card, especially if you can chain 2 of them, basically just stops their turn entirely. I find it to be really strong. Forcing cards out of their hand just to attack is amazing. So Tax Gate, Really good card. Consistently finding it is very important, especially into those matches. This is a 2 of guaranteed, potentially even 3 if you're having a really bad time in Emu, but personally, this card is the bread and butter of the Emu match. Running 2 of the Red Rock, just place one of your opponent's cards at the bottom of their deck. This is great into the mirror. This card just gets rid of their 10 cost characters just for free, basically. I mean, for 6 Dawn, but you can still then swing 10 with Leader. You can, Marco, not use Leader effect and just bottom deck something and Marco on the same turn. You can Atmos and Red Rock. Like, you have pieces here, and the Red Rock is just really strong. It's a brick, yes, but we can just ditch it with Leader effect, and if you don't need it in the match. This is more teched into the mirror. You do have to tech into the mirror a lot, like with the Atmos, the Jozu, and the Red Rock. Having all of these is just what saves you in those matches. Now let's talk about the new OP13 cards. This is going to start with our Searcher Garp. This says if your leader is Luffy, Sabo, or Ace, look at the top 4 cards and reveal 1 cost 3 or higher and add it to your hand. There's no other restriction, so you can search out almost every single card. Uta, all the Newgates, all the Rogers, everything but the other searchers basically. We can search out Pudding, Atmos, Marco, Yamato, Jozu, Newgate, Red Rock, and I am Whitebeard. Finding this card is really important. I find it to be even stronger than Izo because this can search just anything. This can only grab Whitebeard Pirates type. So Garp is definitely a 4 of. That's why I have Izo at a 3. You can even put Izo down to a 2 if there's something else you want to run. I like it because it finds, I like Garp more can find you Roger. And Roger, just finding that and not having to have like a title like Whitebeard Pirates, really strong. This card being searchable is just absolutely a menace. Then we're running 4 of this Otama 2K counter. If you have 3 or less life cards, draw 2 and trash 1. It just filters through the hand. It's the whole reason that Nami got banned. It's 2K counter that's draw 2, trash 1. Absolutely absurd card here. You basically just go even in hand size, but you consistently find the combo pieces that you need, and you can get rid of the cards that you don't. So if you know you don't need a card in a match, the Otama is the way. I mean, honestly, if you're stuck with Red Rocks in an Emu match, you just Otama it out, get rid of the Red Rock, and then find other pieces that you do need for that specific match. Running 1 of the Fossa. This is a tech piece that I want to try, because if we can take second away from Emu, and we can keep this card on the board, it helps with their removal, and the mainly just Stussy. Stussy is absolutely absurd in this format because that's their way to remove your 10 cost Newgates. So if we can, cheat our Newgate out properly, and we can keep it on the board thanks to Fossa, this card can be really good. Stussy just trashes one of their characters on the board, KO one of your opponent's characters. Any character in the game. Like, there is no other way. This is amazing. It's hard to get rid of as well, so it's not something we can easily remove without like Red Rock or having to put effort into it. So Stussy is want to tech against kind of with 1 Fossa in specific matches, have the ability to play it. So sometimes on a 6 Dawn turn, if your opponent doesn't find enough searchers, I found that you can Atmos and Fossa, or you can Marco and Fossa on the same turn, and then go into your 8 Dawn and cheat out your 10 cost character. Then your opponent would be going into 9 Dawn, which is where they'd love to Stussy, and you just take that away. So the idea is just to Fossa if you can, or force them to play Marcus Mars to remove Fossa first if they want to Stussy, making them lose cards in hand, and that's also strong. So this is a 1 of tech piece that I want to try. I'm not saying it's good, because cards that just have blanket removal, like anti-removal, is not actually good. We're running 3 of this new Yamato. If you have your less life cards, draw 2, then give 1 rested Dawn to your leader. We have this for going first. This is strong, and so is Atmos. Atmos, Marco, you can do any of your own combination if you're going first, because you just attach 1 Dawn to leader, play Marco, attach 1 Dawn to leader, play Atmos, attach 1, or Yamato, draw 2, and attach a Dawn to leader. Yamato is obviously the best value, but it's not needed all the time, so that's why I only run it as a 3 of. It's only needed going first. Finally, we're running Edward Newgate. This is the last new card from the new set. This is a 10 cost 12k blocker that's on play, draw 2, trash 1, so it replaces itself in hand. Now when we're using the 8 cost, which this event cheats out a Newgate from your hand, then you may add a top or bottom card of your life in your hand to make your leader plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's turn. So now we can do this. We don't have to take the life to gain plus 2,000, we can just play it to play out a 10 cost on our 8 Dawn turn, and then give 2 rested Dawn to our leader. So now our leader effect is active. 2 Dawn onto a character, so that character can now attack into our opponent aggressively. It's good into 5Ks to then swing 7 into like Goldie Roger, and then 8 into Goldie Roger and keep pressure while also putting a 12k on the board. A blocker that is insanely strong here. Edward Newgate, really good card in the deck specifically. So this card is the main bread and butter. This is what you're trying to cheat out on 8 Dawn every single turn. Then we start to combo our other Newgates later on. We can either continue to use the 8 cost if we want to play out like the 2 cost Uta here. It says 6 cost, but we all know it's 2. To then, go on with it even more. This card's great and impactful early game, late game, mid game, whatever. when you get into that 8-Dawn turn and above, this is a really good card, especially when you combo with Newgate here. All right, that was enough of the ace match. I tried to explain a few things and why we run certain cards in certain ways. This is my personal build that I've kind of cooked up all together, so I hope you enjoy. Let's play some ranked games of OP13 Ace. Match number 1 here. We're pretty low on the bounty toll, so we're going to just see how this goes. Our opponent is Belo Betty. As you can see, this is ranked. We've not played any ranked with this deck. Only having one searcher, I don't like this, especially into this match specifically. Atmos is really needed. We have not found an Atmos yet, so let's hope we can do that. I also think Newgate's going to be good, so here you go. You can see we're in ranked. We're going to turn that off so it's not there the whole time, so you can kind of see the cards that we're looking at. But yeah, I'm here to take on Belo Betty. They played on a Lilith. This is the new searcher for the any deck, basically. This card is really good. It also has a trigger, so they can make it into a 5k attack. Of course, we're going to search the top of the deck. We're going to grab there's a lot of bricks. We can't grab the 8 cost event here, so we're going to have to grab the 10 cost. And then you could play down the other Garp, but in case they start swinging aggressively, we're actually going to attach it on to leader so that we now have our leader ability as active. This is very important, especially going second, because we don't really have a 4-Dawn play yet, so now we're going to Garp on the next turn and be okay. It's kind of how you're going to have to handle the situation. We're also going to starve out our opponent, not really attack in. You could obviously go to finish the game as soon as possible, but I don't think that's the best option. Now we top deck the Atmos. Atmos is going to be really good here. We're going to go ahead and show them 2 Whitebeard Pirates types. We're going to show them the 10 cost because they already know that. And we're going to show them the 8 cost because we're going to use that in 2 turns and then bounce the Morley back to their hand and pass to our opponent. Now they could swing pretty aggressively into us, but I don't think they will. They normally want to play a 5 cost Ivankov here and then cheat out a body, meaning they won't have the ability to really attack in. They could leader effect here to play get the Ivankov to then cheat out other characters. That's pretty good for our opponent, you know, being able to make it a higher power and then cheat out some Revo army from hand. Maybe it's Karasu. Karasu would be the perfect play here, making our leader into a 5k, but they didn't have it, so they just cheat out Kuma. That's actually really weak for our opponent, not gonna lie. We don't have a great play here. So we're gonna look at the top of the deck. We find the Marco. That's exactly what I was gonna look for, but the 10 Newgate is really strong. I think we're gonna have to go with Marco here though, and then attach one Dawn to leader, play out Marco and pass. Again, we're just trying to stay alive. We're trying to not give them a lot of value here out of their life because they could have triggers. It looks like they're playing a lot of triggers because they're playing the Lilith here that searches for triggers specifically. So we need to do as much damage as we can. So we need to probably hold the Marco if possible. We can also take a life instead. We have 4k counter. They discard a card, buff their board 3k each. So we're looking at a bunch of 6ks here. No blocker. We're going to 2k out of this attack. We're going to give up the red rock here as counter as well, but it kind of depends on how big our opponent's swinging. If they're doing a bunch of 6s, we're okay with that. We can get out of them for the most part. We're going to go ahead and 2k again. We're going to lose a lot of cards in hand, but we're going to draw a lot of cards as well. I want to hold the Marco just for more attacks, basically. So now we're going to red rock, get out of this attack. We may have to take... we're actually going to have to give up the Marco. I think so. Now we get to draw 3 cards. We get some counter in hand. And then we'll probably still have to take this life. This 8k attack, now that we don't have a 2k, probably going to have to take that. Probably going to have to take that here. We should be able to clean up board pretty nicely, though. That's kind of at least the plan. 11. Yep, we're just going to eat an 11. I was not getting out of that. There was no possible way. So we're going to go to 8 cost here, though. They play out the Morley. They get to tap one Dawn for a Lilith to remove the Lilith and then go find their pieces, doing their thing. They find a Lindbergh here that's going to KO small body characters. We're going to 8 cost, cheat out the 10 cost, not taking a life. Do you take a life in this match? I don't think so, because then they're going to try to put us to 0, right? I don't think we take a life. Draw 2. We're going to trash one of the Marcos. I don't think we're going to need this many Marcos. We might need the 8 cost event, though, especially to go Uta and the 10 cost. So we're going to hold that. We're going to put 2 Dawn on the leader to swing 8. And I think we're going to put 2 Dawn on the Garp here. The Garp is going to swing 4 into Kuma. I don't want to swing 2 into Kuma and just get 1 card. I want to guarantee that we remove their board as much as possible. We're going to swing into this Ivankov here. This Ivankov is just really strong, so we want to remove that at all possible. This would be a 9k attacker. Am I worried about a 9k? I don't think so. I think I'd rather go for a more guaranteed removal. They would need to have 2 2ks. They don't have it. And then we're going to pass to our opponent. We're now back with our counter. We're in a good spot. We can still drop the Marco. Like, we don't need the Marco per se. They play the Kuma, remove the Garp. That's fine. Like, we don't really care. They're going to play 5 cost Ivankov. That's going to probably cheat out a body from the top 3 cards of their deck. It's going to cheat out a top 5 searcher in the Belo Betty. Then they can find a combo piece. This is a very interesting match. This match does take a while, so strap up. Hope you're ready to hang out for a little bit, because we are going to be here for a minute. They're going to grab a Koala. That's going to take a life and cheat out a body from their hand, or be just a blocker. It's not bad. They're going to discard a Kuma. We know they now have a brick in hand. We know the one card in their hand is a brick, so puts us in a good spot here. We're going to go ahead and counter 1. We give up the Jozu, I think, in this situation, and then they're going to be swinging another 6. We're going to counter 1, and then 8. We're going to block first. So the reason you block first is then they won't commit the Ivankov if you don't. So we'll have to block first. Oh, this is unblockable. Never mind. We're just going to take this and draw a card. Sounds good to me. All right. 10 Dawn. We know they have a brick in hand. I think we're just going to play another blocker because they gave up the unblockable early, which is good for us. So we can actually just go 5 into Morley. Tap 8 to cheat out the 10 cost. Not taking a life. Draw 2. Goldie Roger may be good here in a little bit. So we're going to drop the Marco. 2 Dawn on the leader. 2 Dawn on Atmos. It doesn't really matter because, again, we know the card in their hand is a brick. We're going to swing into the Lilith because that gets extra power. We're going to swing into the unblockable because we don't really want to deal with unblockable. We're going to tap 2 for another blocker and pass. So now we're really set up. We have a good bit of counter. They play Koala. That's going to make them take a life, and then they get to cheat out a body from their hand if they have one. Granted, they only have 4 cards in hand. They cheat out a Koala here. That's going to give minus 3,000 power to a character. This is a 2 cost. Boat lowers down our Newgate here. So they discard a card, another Koala, buff their board. Looks like 6, 6, 10, 10. So 6, 6 is 1k, 1k. Starting with 9 is kind of weird, I'm not going to lie. Starting with 9 is really weird. Because they're not going to have that. I think we just block this, right? I think we just block for free. And I think we block again and give them a 1k counter. Because now they're only going, what, 6, 8 or 7, 7? Which we're fine with either of those. We still have an additional blocker. If they want to swing really big into the Newgate here, 9 doesn't really do much. Here, I think we just 1k out. And then this next attack, I think I'm just going to block. Because I don't think I'd ever take this. They don't have unblockable, to be fair. They don't have unblockable on the board. Would I ever just take this? I'm trying to do some math here because we have to clear the board. So what can we commit is the question. Because then we're going to have to commit these blockers, so we actually need to hold our other blocker. So we'll just take and draw an extra card. We get the Atmos. That could be good. That could be good. Another 10 cost to Newgate. Is that ever the best play? I think it is. I don't think becoming an 8k leader is the move. I think we play another blocker, draw 2, trash 1, 2 Dawn, and 2 Dawn. We're gonna go 7 into the Ivankov. We're just gonna find out early if it's 2k or not. Looks like it's not a 2k. They could block out of this, but then we're going to swing into both of these, both the bodies on the board, so they don't do that, and then we're just going to pass. No reason to attack and commit anymore. Again, they don't have unblockable. They could trigger Morley out of life, so we don't want to deal with that. We just need to go for game. They take a life, they get a cheetah body out, they cheat out an Inazuma, that's going to have Rush, but I don't think Rush does anything, because they can buff the board, we just block, block, block. 5 and a 6, sure. Does not change anything, buddy. Does not change anything, and now we just finished the game off with Goldie Roger. This is a difficult match, I would say for sure. So, yeah, I think we just play Goldie Roger. Goldie Roger guarantees the game here, because 6, they might 2k, and then 12, 12, 12. Yep, they could have 2K'd, but then we swing 12. They take 12, they take 13, they take guaranteed lethal. No trigger out of life would have saved them unless it was some kind of event that gives this character like minus 10k. I think that would be the only way to really, no, I mean, even with that, 12, 12, 12, 12, guaranteed. All right, GG's to the first opponent. We're on to the next match. All right, we're gonna take on a green Uta. As you can see, this is ranked. We're gonna always take second every single time that we can. Maybe for the last game, we'll take first and see how that goes. Atmos is good in this match. It really is. I think we're gonna keep this. Atmos is really strong here. We're going to look at the top 5, grab a Whitebeard Pirates type. They don't run removal, so we don't need this. On a 6-stomp play, Josu's definitely not bad. We already have the Marco. We don't need the Yamato. The Yamato's not even searchable, so we're going to grab the Josu no matter what. We're going to put one down on leader in case they swing a big 8. Anytime your opponent, in most matches, let me say this first. In most matches, if your opponent swings a big 8, just take it. See, this is why this card is just so strong. We're going to show them the 10 cost in the Josu. They already know about the Josu, and they expect a 10 cost. So we just bounce it back, and we swing 6 into our opponent. This is not a match we're scared to swing, because they're going to get a big hand size no matter what, so we need to force it out as soon as possible. We could Josu on this next turn, bounce whatever they play. They play an Uta, restand 2 Dawn, and then swing 8. Here we will take the 8, and then we get to not draw an extra card, which is totally fine. Sometimes you just don't get to. We're going to swing 6 into our opponent again. We should have gone 5 first, but it doesn't really matter because they're going to counter out. We're going to kind of take away their board here. We're going to do the same thing. We could have swung 7, I guess, and Atmos, and we could have done so much more. So we're actually going to Atmos. It would be nice to play Josu, but leader effect is just so good. We're going to show him a Josu and a 10 cost. We're going to bounce the Uta back, and then we're going to tap 1 for the Garp, because the Garp is going to search more pieces that we might need, like we'd get the Goldie Roger here. Granted, I don't think we need Goldie Roger. I think we need 8 costs, because we're going into our 8 Dawn turn, and then we're just going to pass to our opponent. Now we have the Dawn and leader. We bounce back their board. They have 10 cards in hand. A pudding would go crazy. It's kind of why I wanted to Garp there, because this is the situation where it would actually be stronger to straight up just pudding rather than anything else. So they play Sanji, restand 2 Dawn at the end of their turn, restand 1 Dawn. Now they can attach it on leader. They can just go Uta. So they're going to Uta now and then swing 7 into 5. Do I ever just give that up? I don't think so. I think since we're not going to be playing a... I think since we're not playing a pudding on this next turn, we want to actually attack more. So we're going to 2k and then 1k out of it because we get to hold our board now. They get to restand a Dawn. I actually think it's best to Josu here. I think in this situation it's best to Josu. 5 in a face, 5 in a face. So we're going to go 5, 6, 7. I'm not even going to 8 costs. They could have put more pressure on with 8 costs, but here in the situation with how many cards they have, I don't think it's better to do that. I think it's better to continue clearing their board. In a green match specifically, we're going to bounce Garp back because Garp is actually better. We're going to bounce back to Sanji and then pass to our opponent. So we keep just taking away their board, mitigating their pressure, and we get to continue to put Dawn on our leader. They're going to tap 1, get to search the top 3 cards, then restand the Dawn. They grab the Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 2k counter. 10 cards in hand is absolutely absurd here. Now we can actually pop the Izo to try to find something. We could hold the 8 cost. I don't think we're going to need another Josu. Josu could be our counter here, though. Do we need the Marco? I don't think we need the Marco, though. Trash 1 card from hand for leader effect. We are going to 1k out of this. No, we're going to Josu out of this attack. I think we save our board while we can. Whoops. Well, didn't mean to do that, but we did it, so we're going to commit to it. Already stuck with it. They play 9 cost Shanks, removing Atmos. That's actually fine. Play up to 1 character from your hand, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to go 10 cost, draw 2, trash 1. We're going to hold as much counter as we can. 2 Dawn on leader, 2 Dawn on Atmos. We're going to swing a bunch of 7s into face. We know they have a 5 cost to play out, which would be the Sanji, and so we don't want to do that. Then they get to restand more Dawn and do all that stuff, so we'd rather just apply the pressure while we can. Especially with this many cards in hand, 8, they're going to have to counter all of these attacks, basically. So, 2k, 2k, and now their hand's back down to 6. We have a very strong hand size ourselves, so I don't think there's much they can do here. Another 9 cost Shanks would be brilliant, so we're going to have to kind of not block out if we don't have to, because I'd much rather lose like Josu and Atmos than lose my 10 cost Newgate, especially going into how much pressure we have on the board. We can actually give Josu up and just draw a card. Now we get a red rock, we can just remove the Shanks. If they play a 9 cost Zoro, we can just remove that as well. 6, we're going to probably just 2k out. Again, as if they're holding up 9 Dawn, we're not gonna block. Another 9 cost Shanks is detrimental. Technically, we should have just given up the Atmos there. Now that they're showing us 7 Dawn, this is where you actually block. Granted, this could be Hody Jones, but then they're taking their last life. Here you can block now that they're not showing 9 Dawn for another Shanks. It's basically just guaranteed they don't do that. So they're gonna Nami, look at the top of the deck, grab a Monkey D. Luffy 2k counter, have 3 more Dawn, and they just pass. They just end the game there. They had 3 more Dawn, but nothing to do with it. They could have played another Nami, but we were just gonna red rock the Shanks there, and then we were gonna swing 7, 8. That would have gotten 2k, 1k, 8 would have hit, and then we could have committed the 12 at that point, or we could have just held the blocker because we weren't in a place to lose. We had so much counter, we were about to draw the pudding with 8 cards in hand. We may have gone red rock pudding and just not use leader effect, put them down with their cards, and then swing 5, 6, and hold a blocker. That would also be great because we're removing the big body. Don't even have to worry about the little guys because we're a 6k leader. GG's to our opponent. Uta, making a comeback. Not coming back enough, though. This is the match everyone wants to see. Emu match everyone wants to see. We're going to go second. The next match, we are going to go first as long as we can. They, of course, start with the empty throne. We're going to mulligan. I did not see the pieces we want. Now this is the pieces you want. We get to find every card we need. They're going to get Workery, then trash a card. They're going to trash Mars, then trash Charlia to draw a card. The normal combos that this deck likes to do. Goldie Roger is really nice, but we have nothing to do in the late game, but we have a lot of searching. So I think we're actually going to go with the Goldie Roger. Now they know we have it. Put it on leader so that now they can't really cheat anything out. They're going to swing a big 8. We'll take a big 8 every single time. They're going to trash the Marie Joie stage, tap 3 to play out nothing. I don't think they have a 3-cost character to use with stage here, so not much you can do in that situation. But it'd be that way. I think they weren't worried about attacking anyways. We're going to look through the deck. We're going to find all the combo pieces we need. They have their trash almost filled up, so we're going to have the Tax Gate here because Tax Gate is just that good. We're going to play Garp again. We're going to look at the top 4. Atmos is nice, but it's not what we need in this situation. What we do usually need Uta Blocker. Uta Blocker is just that good. So we're going to have Uta Blocker. Now we're going to play Otama, draw 2, trash the Red Rock. We have found absolutely nothing that we need. 7 in the face. 3 of the 8 cost, none of the other characters. It happens. Like, we could have played the 5 cost Yamato instead of the Goldie Roger, but then we just did not have a Goldie Roger in hand. Granted, we'd be drawing more cards. I would have loved to have found a pudding in that hand, because you can already see they've done so many searchers, and this is why I didn't grab Jozu, because now the trash is full. Like, now they have 8 or more in trash, which means none of their characters can be removed from the board. Like, this card says if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, this card cannot be removed from the board, and it gains blocker. On KO, draw 1 card. Absolutely absurd. So we may be going 5 and 6. We may actually just take this to find the pieces. It'd be too greedy. It would be too greedy in this situation. Another Uta Blocker. Dang, man. We're just going to go 7-7. 7-7's the play here. On an 8-Dawn turn, we can go Tax Gate, which isn't great. So we really need to take whatever attack they swing at us. We're going to go 7-7, try to get some cards out of their hand. A pudding would have been really nice. Like, really, really nice. They have to counter out of this to really get through where pudding doesn't get as much value. They're filling up their trash with the combo pieces they need. They now have all 5 other than Nazjuro in the trash. And they can easily play Nazjuro, swing in, play the 10 cost, do all those things, yada yada, whatever. Remove my Garp, that's fine, you can have it. Like, it'd be that way. They're going to play the Empty Throne, cheat out Workery, they're going to discard a card and KO a card. Don't think that was worth it, but they did. Or Mars, sorry. And then Workery, so they're sitting on 2 blockers already. On an 8-Dawn turn, we're going to have to play Tax Gate, and Tax Gate doesn't even do anything here because we didn't take a life. So, sheesh. Really bad showing in this situation. 7 in a face. They draw a card. We're going to have to play a blocker and pass. Like, we could have played the Tax Gate, but we're not down low enough in life to be worth it. They're going to play out Jupiter. Then they're going to play out Workery. They found all their Workeries so far. Holy cow. We're going to take this. We need to take this to find a combo piece. We haven't even found one yet. They're going to swing 8. We're just going to block out. Let the blocker go down. I didn't think they would do that, but they did. And then they just trash it because they didn't need the blocker because they already have a blocker on the board. Now we're going to... I think we're going to Ezo first. Look at the top 5. Still no 10 cost. Still no 10 cost. We'll grab a Marco here. We're going to swing 7 into leader. That's going to get blocked from Workery, and they're going to draw a card. Yep, we're gonna tap 8, cheat out 10 cost, not take a life, tax the Jupiter, and pass. Like, again, low value here. We have not seen Najjuro in trash yet, have we? No Najjuro, so they don't have rush here. They're gonna play out the 5 Elders, trash the 5 Elders and the entire board. They trash the Najjuro as the card in hand. Now they get the board full. They can swing basically just big, it looks like. They get to trash our Ezo, which is fine. We didn't really need it at this situation. We're going to 5 Dawn here. That'd be 12 minus 2k. Oh, we don't have a blocker. So we definitely need to be getting out of this. Definitely need to get out of this one. We'll go ahead and just counter since we don't have any of our combo pieces. This is like the worst pool you can get against an Emu. Literally the worst pool. Unless we top deck a tax gate here. They could swing really big. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to swing really big. 10 into 6, we're just going to take that. Maybe find the pieces we need. We top deck the tax gate. Top decking the tax gate is pretty damn good. We could Otama. Do we ever remove Najjuro? I don't think so. I don't think we ever can, actually. Otama to find more pieces wouldn't be bad. There we go. Now we can swing 7 in the face and then 12. They're just going to block with Mercury, draw a card, then we swing 12, they're just going to block with Mars. They could also just 1 cost event with a 4k counter, because that's what this deck does. We'll swing 12 just to get rid of one of their blockers. They know how much pressure they have on us. I guess we didn't even have to commit, actually. Since they're going to be taxed anyways, we didn't have to commit that, but it's fine that we did. We're going to play the other tax gate, not take a life, tax the board, and now we have 2 12ks, which is nice. We can start, chaining our 10 cost blockers. So we're in a much better position now, especially knowing we have this pudding. We need a blocker on the board though before we can safely pudding, because then we can pudding and Marco on the next turn. They tap 3 Dawn to play Mercury for a blocker. Interesting. Interesting for sure. They're gonna try to put us down to 0 with the entire board full. We're not gonna be able to let that happen. So we're actually gonna have to ditch the Marco, 2k, and get out of it, because we don't have the blocker on the board yet. We can't go down to 0 safely. Now we can 10 cost, replace Otama, draw 2. Oh, this would have been nice earlier. We'll trash the Marco here, just so we can keep the 1ks, because I don't think we're going to need the Marco since we have the Otamas. We could put in Marco next turn. We could also just Goldie Roger. We'll actually drop the Fossa here. 2 Dawn on leader, 2 Dawn on one of the gates. We'll swing 8, we'll tap 1 Dawn and get out of it with a 4k counter, because that's what this deck does. We'll swing 12, the Mercury, draw a card. We'll swing 12. We could have set up for Goldie Roger there, but there was no way to win in that situation with Goldie Roger with 2 Dawn active. So here they should block out again. We at least limit their board. We sit on a blocker, we pass. We have good counter. We have pudding. Kind of depends. They haven't found their 10 cost yet. They haven't found their 10 cost to chain. They're down to 15 cards in deck. They should have a 10 cost coming in. So I'm expecting 8, 8, 8. 3, 4 Dawn. No blocker. We're going to 1k out of this just to get out of the attack while we can. We can go down to 0 here safely. It depends on how they play, honestly. Are we stuck Goldie Rogering? It feels like we're stuck Goldie Rogering next turn. But I'd really like to hold the pudding. Minus 2 gate, minus 2 to the new gate. I thought they'd stop the blocker. 8, 8, 8. My worry here is if they... Do we get them to commit here? If we take? No, there's no world they would ever commit that much. So it'd be like 10, 10. Block and then have to counter 1. So we'll take this actually. Another Goldie Roger. So we can actually trash 1. Okay. So we can safely trash the Goldie Roger. And then 1k out of this one. Now, Najjuro could swing in for 10, 2k, 2k, 1k. We could technically get out of it. We would have to Goldie Roger, though. That's the issue. And Najjuro wouldn't swing in for 10, so we're going to block this. He's going to only swing in with 8 with Najjuro. It wouldn't make sense to go in for 10. It wouldn't work. But we do have to finish the game this turn because of the horrible start. The horrible start. A 10 cost here would be nice, but it would have been better to chain the 10 cost blockers earlier to alleviate some of the pressure that we've been going through. Now our opponent's going to rest 3. Oh, they're going to cheat out Najjuro. We know we have enough counter for Najjuro, so... Wait, 2k, 2k, 1k? Oh. Damn. They had the 10 cost, but they went in. Maybe because they knew they would lose to Goldie Roger. That's just a misplay on my end. GG's to our opponent. Would Goldie Roger have won it for us? I don't think so. Because they have 4 life. They only have to get out of 1 attack. So 6, 12, 4k, 6k. Yeah, they can get out of 112 already, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they can get out of a 12k just from their hand they would start with. And then they get a 2k, a 1k, a 2k. Yeah, we would have lost either way. Because it would have been 12 or 6 would be a 2k. 12 they take, 12 they take, 12 they counter out of. And then 13, they have 1 life left. We would have lost either way. I think it was just a slow start. If we would have not found these new gates first and found one of the blockers to start and then extended our plays from then on, we would have been okay. But that's just the emu match, man. Sometimes that was just, honestly, that was just the worst draws I've ever seen. But it'd be that way. GG's to our opponent. We almost had him in the end, but close, but no cigar. Now here's the mirror match that we were talking about. Again, low rank. I have not played much ranked, but it is what it is. This is going to be tough altogether. We're going to get rid of the rank thing out the way as always. Another ranked match. This is not a good hand in the mirror especially. We're going to mulligan this. Otama early, draw 2, trash 1. We need to keep our searching. Jozu is actually really good here. Tax Gate's not the most important thing. I'm almost most tempted to drop Tax Gate, but we'll drop a 2k counter instead. I don't think this is going to come up though. It may. I might be wrong. Maybe I eat my words. It might just depend on what the Aces build is. They're going to play Garp. They're going to grab a 10 cost Newgate, the blocker. They're going to play an Ezo. Oh, they're not playing an leader effect here. We don't even have a 3-non play, so we can literally just swing 8 into our opponent and play out Ezo. They reveal another Edward Newgate, so we know they have 2 Newgates, 2 10 cost, and then we can just swing 8 into our opponent, because no matter what with the 1 cost search, there's nothing we ever want to play here. They didn't put it on their leader, which I think is incorrect, because now they don't get to draw the extra card. They're going to use the Ezo now, so draw 1, trash 1, and then we're going to play our own Ezo, look at the top 5, looking for a 10 cost blocker Newgate as well, because it's basically just who can chain these the most. They take, we're going to Ezo, this would be nice, but Yamato's really strong for our next turn. Since we're going into 5 Dawn, I might actually Yamato. Oh, Yamato's not searchable. Never mind, I'm an idiot. Alright, pass. Pass, nice. I'm glad they gave me an option, because sometimes that'll not give you the option. We will get out of this. I think I want to give up this 10. I don't think I'm ever going to need that. We don't even have a play next turn. Do we just take this? How greedy is that? I think that's hella greedy. I don't think we take it. I don't think we take it. It's hard to say, dude. It is really hard to say in this situation. Play out the Marco, kind of as expected. We're going to Otama, draw 2, trash 1. That card's really good. We're dropping the 10 cost. We are dropping the 10 cost for sure. I'm actually thinking about just swinging all out. I think that's all we can do. Swing big. They're going to block and draw 2, but not 3, so we get rid of that as well. They're not really getting value to the leader effect, no matter what, so they block out, they lose board, but they have a huge hand size now. Holy Lantha. We're kind of playing around the pudding here. That's kind of my biggest thought. We're going to Ezo first. Do we ever Ezo? I think we do Ezo. Pudding's really strong. So we could Pudding now and then Red Rock on the next turn. So we're not going to Jozu, we're just going to Pudding. What do they play for 6? Jozu? Bounce back, and then don't bounce anything on ours. So I think we actually just counter this with the 2K. And we just let it go. I think we're doing everything correct. We're playing against the Pudding here. They play Jozu, bounce Garp, and then, you know, don't really get anything else. But I think we just Pudding. Yeah, I think Pudding's just that strong. And then swing 8, or 9. Now they're forced to take a life. They don't get to draw the extra card either because they didn't put it on leader. So now we're really even. They're down to 1 life though. They do have a body on the board, which we don't have. Here they get to 8 cost, but we stopped while they're searching, and their hand advantage. So they may not have the 8 cost events. We may be up now. So now they have to Otama, draw 2, trash 1. Okay, that's actually really good for us. They Otama again, draw 2, trash 1. Yep. Sounds about right. They're down to 6 cards in hand. They could Jozu, bounce both their cards back to hand. We could have Jozu bounce the pudding back for later in the game, but we'll find another pudding. I'm confident in that. Now they're going to play Ezo, grab the I Am Whitebeard event. We already have that, so we're in a good spot. We are playing this mirror properly. Going first especially, we're actually in a really good spot. Because now we can get our first 10 cost out before they do. We're going to get out of this attack for sure, because they might just swing like a huge attack, so we had to worry about that. We're going to take this attack and draw an extra card. We now have fodder here. We had to worry about them going bigger, you know, so we're going to be able to... We can 9 Dons, we can 1 cost Searcher, look at the top of the deck and grab maybe some counter. This is actually good, possibly later to bounce the Marco back. So I actually don't hate holding this in hand. If we need to get rid of it though, we can, if need be. We're not going to take a life, we're going to draw 2 and then trash 1. I'm going to trash the tax gate here, put 2 Don on leader, 2 Don on pudding, and we're going to swing 6 and then 8. 6 should get countered with a 1k. 8 should get blocked out of, I'm assuming, based off their small hand size. Then they get to up their hand size again, which is good for them, but we get to red rock their big body and then start swinging in the board because we won't need the blocker at that point. They'll only have the Marco, or they're going to lose the Marco this turn. So they do 1k out. They minus 2k to the leader from their leader effect, and they should counter 1 on the 6k. They take the 6k. They should just block this, draw 2 cards. Their hand size is back, but we are in such a good position. They're back to 10 cards in hand, but we're at 2 life with a blocker. This is the bread and butter right here. This is what we were looking for. Play out 9 cost Newgate here with the 8 cost event. Interesting enough. That's going to make their leader into an 8k, but I don't think we're worried about leader here. I think we're actually going to swing, well, kind of depends. They're going to go 8-9. So I think they did that incorrectly in my opinion. I don't think there's anything I ever want to get rid of because we can just remove this easily and then swing pretty big into our opponent. It's actually going to be 8-8. I don't even think they put a Dawn on leader because they get no advantage out of it. So when we remove this, they don't get anything. Is there ever a world we take this? I don't think so. We were going to counter out of that. They disconnected. GG's, man, we were cooking. Like, honestly, I think that game was just over at that point. When they played out the 9 cost instead of the 10, I don't really understand that. Granted, we were going to red rocket, and then I was going to put all my Dawn on the Newgate and just swing in. Because, like, I'm at no disadvantage there. So then that costs 2k, 2k, 1k. A card out of hand is 2k. Potentially 4k there. So they could get out of it for sure. Out of the 16, they just go 1 cost. And then that would get them to 12. And then we would have 4 extra Dawn on here. So they'd go 2k, 2k. And then probably ditch, like, the Red Rock or one of the Rogers or something. They were going to go down to 0 life, but they wouldn't have won at 0 life because we'd remove their big body. So the Goldie Roger would not have won in the game, especially because we were getting out of that attack and then blocking out of the next one. No matter what there, even going first, we were able to take them in the end in the mirror match. I think we're teched in really well into the mirror. Like, as you could see, even going first, taking the worst curve, we were still able to get it. As long as you play properly, don't build up a huge hand size, and you find a pudding, you basically just win the mirror. So, hey, GG's to our opponents today. That was a lot of fun playing some ranked here. We don't normally take on ranked, that's why my berry bounty is so low, but I am going to be grinding the crap out of it, and I'm trying to get to like a billion berry bounty. So just know, we're going to be playing a lot more Ace, a lot of Emu coming up, and Goldie, Roger, all those new decks, Zoro, everything you want to see on the channel. So, as always, like and subscribe. It really helps me out for completely free. Sorry it was a really long intro and to talk about the deck profile, but I want to give you a deeper analysis, like more in-depth than most people. So, I hope I could help you out today with some Ace as you prepare for OP13. Remember to go ahead and buy your Goldie Rogers and all the things you need now before they spike up when the set comes out. Remember, it happens every set. So, buy your singles now to prepare. Cardi Kaizoku just made a video on what you need for OP13. I know a lot of other content creators have. So, definitely check out their videos to figure out what you need to get ready for these decks. I showed you the deck profile. You just need to go buy the cards. Let's get, we'll have a lot of more games soon. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.